It's the
We're live.
Oh
We
yes,
are
we are
live.
live. We are live.
We are live. So we're gonna just hello everyone. We're gonna wait for a
Hello.
couple of people to jump on, but we're live.
We're live.
Chris,
Woo. So you can
yeah.
so are you able to see like how many people are like in and stuff?
I can see how people are getting on.
Okay, I
So
got you. Oh,
somebody's on.
that's okay, that's dope. I like that. That's pretty cool.
As you come on, put a comment and let us know where you are watching us. We are excited. We are
Yes.
streaming live to the BSU Facebook page, to
Mhm.
AAGA's Facebook page, and to the UPS YouTube. So we have some folks on YouTube. Hello. Hello. Awesome. So you can see them in the comments, Chris. If you just hit comments on your side, you can see the comments.
Okay.
Hey there. Hey,
Uh,
Manny. So Manny's on. Hello, hello,
Hello,
welcome.
y'all. Oh, there goes some of my board. That's some of my. That's Ava. That's Taylor. That's my board. Hey, board. Hi, guys. Hello. Ah, hello.
Hello, everyone. Hello,
There goes
welcome.
my VP. I see my VP. Uh, there goes my second. So my secretary is here. My parliamentarian is here. My social chair is here. My advisor is here. And then my treasurer is here. Hey, y'all. Oh my gosh, they're here.
Chris
Hey,
is
guys.
excited.
I
He is
am.
excited. Well, hello, hello. It looks like we are getting some folks on. So let's just intro. Chris, let's get started. We're
All right, you want me to
excited
go
today.
first? You gonna go first?
Hey, it's BSU. You go first.
All right, bet. Hey, everybody. My name is Christopher Neal. I am a senior, and I am majoring in communication studies and minoring in Africana studies and creative writing. And also, I have the honor of serving as your 2020-2021 BSU president, and that's me. And now, Ebony, you go.
Hi, everybody. I am Ebony Bryant. I am a past BSU president. And then also, I am the current president of AAGA, the African American Graduate Association. And we are just excited to be partnering with BSU to celebrate
50
50 years.
years!
Oh my goodness. Come on into the gold. What is it called, Chris? The
Golden
gold
year.
member.
Gold member club, yes. Gold member club, the oldest black organization at UNCW.
So yes, we are
Yeah.
excited, and we are just bringing on. We're getting ready to bring on a number of former BSU presidents, right?
Hmm. Yes, we have one from each
Spanning
decade.
every decade. We are so
Every decade.
excited.
Yes.
So this
So
is going to be
70.
fun.
Oh,
Go ahead.
so we have one from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and then me. So we literally have every decade because that's crazy. That's look at
We have
that.
every decade. This is so exciting. So we do have our 80s president that will be joining us in a minute, but we're going to go ahead and bring folks on the screen. Does that
Hmm.
work? All right. So you'll be able to see us all. So we're going to bring them on, and then we're going to let everybody introduce themselves, or you want to? We'll let Chris do his thing. All right. We're bringing them up. Yes, and all right.
There we go. Yes.
Okay. There's Avery. Okay, go ahead, Chris.
All right. So these are the past BSU presidents, and we're going to go ahead and start with the president from the 70s, Wayne Dunlap. So if you could
Uh,
just introduce yourself.
okay, I'm Wayne Dunlap. I'm from the class of 1979. I was BSU president in 1978, and actually, it was that class that started the Black Student Union, the BSU, that year. And then I went on from there. My senior year to become student body president at UNCW, and I'm a native for Wilmington, by the way.
All right. Awesome.
Apologies. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. I'm still working, so I'm a little behind time. and you can't hear me in there in the
We hear
sanctuary
you.
where I'm at. Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Avery Tootin, past BSU president, AAGA president, class of 1986.
Woo.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay. And I guess that would be me. So I'm Ebony Bryant, class of '01. So I would have been in the year 98, 99 as the president. That's my best memory guess of the year. All right. And then Carlo.
Carl Aurora. I graduated in 2003. Was BSU president in 2002, 2003. I'm not even sure. I might have been president in 01, 02 as well. But either way, nice to be here. It's a long time. It's a long time. I had to check the resume to confirm.
All right. Alexis.
Hi, I'm Alexis Landrum. I graduated in 2019, so not at all a long time ago. I was president in 2018, 2019, and I am excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, we are so excited to have everyone. I think this is such a pivotal year, and we want to make sure that we are celebrating Black excellence, and for us to be celebrating 50 years of doing what we do, it's worth celebrating. And so we want to hear from you all. We have people joining us on the Upperman YouTube channel, the Facebook page for AAGA, and the Facebook page for BSU. So you all, as I said before, are famous now. So we're excited to just hear from each one of you tonight. So Chris, if you want to get started with your first question.
All right. For the first question, we have, what year did you become BSU president, and what year were you in? So were you a freshman, sophomore, or junior, or senior?
Jump right in.
Well, you know, it's been so long ago, I tend to forget. But I came to UNCW back in '82, and I think I was in '84, maybe BSU president, and we founded AAGA back then. So that was something that we wanted to do because we didn't have much of a voice in what was happening at UNCW. And so we wanted to start AAGA to get more minorities engaged in the conversation and what was happening at UNCW.
Awesome. Wayne, let's go with you.
I think it was 77, 78. That sounds right. Because I left in 79 and I was a junior at the time.
Okay. I'm going to go with sophomore year. That would have been 98 to 90. Yeah. I'm going to go with that.
How does that happen? And what I mean by that is I tend to think it's, you would have been there for a while. No juniors, no seniors. I mean, or you just sort of, for lack of a better term, swept them aside. That maybe isn't the right word.
Well, I think I was super involved, right? And so that's why, and I might have my year wrong, but I think when we were there, it was really about, who felt like they were going to lead. It couldn't be a freshman. They didn't really have that sense of it. But if you had some institutional history, you were ready to lead the group forward, then you were able.
Great.
Yeah. Carlo?
So for me, I actually was a vice president. I actually graduated in 3 years. So my second year in school, I was a vice president. And so my last year, I was the president. And I actually held that role while also being the SGA treasurer at the same time. And so being in that role, I was able to kind of led us into the how to get a budget and some of those other kind of things, because I was able to have crossover appeal in terms of letting folks know what's going on other aspects of campus and the work we were doing as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Isn't that how we do? Go ahead, Alexis.
Yeah, I was in my senior year, so I was transitioning out of a lot of other roles, and I just thought it would be a great kind of into my collegiate undergraduate just experience by leading an organization, and that I really felt like I could get behind and could make an actual impact for the population that like really held me down when I was going through undergrad. So yeah, I was a senior.
What are you doing now?
I'm in law school, so the board behind me is all the stuff I need to study tonight.
Awesome.
For you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Go ahead.
yes. All right. Next question. We're gonna go ahead with the next question. Why did you become BSU president?
Wow.
Anybody can get started.
I'll start. It's been a long time ago, but my sense of it was, there was a Black student organization on campus, Beautiful People Want to Missouri. And my sense of it was that the organization really wasn't doing that much on campus. And which is why I started organizing, started the BSU with the idea that Black students would become more involved in the university. So I was just listening to the other brother there who was talking about being SGA treasurer, and that's what I mean. It just, for me, it was important that Black students have unity. We saw each other and did things and had cultural activities, but to be a part of the university, and that was the big push. In fact, once we got organized, the first thing I did was to go over to Chancellor Wagner's office and saw Mrs. Burris, his assistant, and told her that I was the president of the New Black Student Union, and I'd like to have a sit down with the chancellor if I could. And I saw him that afternoon, believe it or not, but the look of fear and panic and, remember this is 1978, was like, what's going to happen, And when I told him that one of our primary initiatives was to get Black students more involved in the heart of the university, he was, he could hardly believe it, But it was a very different time than I'm sure it is at UNCW now. For Black students.
It sounds like not so different from what happened this summer. Chris going and saying, "You need to have a sit down, Mr. Chancellor." So it sounds very familiar.
It does sound very familiar. It does sound very familiar.
Well, Chris, there are stories I could tell you, and maybe when we'll talk and trade stories.
Definitely.
Not so different.
Seems like the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Right. You're right.
Man, yeah.
Because that's the same type of approach that I had back in the 80s. And, there wasn't many of us there to begin with. Yeah. And we had to do something to stay united. We had the gospel choir, we had the BSU, and, at that time, we didn't even have AAGA at that time.
Right.
And so we needed some representation to the university as a whole. And I'm trying to think of his name, Dean of
Parker.
Yeah.
Right. Ralph Parker.
He's the one that got me started and all that. Great guy and very energetic. And plugged into the university. So that's why I started and wanted to become a BSU president.
Right.
Awesome. Carlo or Alexis?
This is very interesting. I think, so I left SGA as well because we had the year I was in SGA, one of my really good friends was the president, and she led it, and we were really happy in that year. We did a lot, but it also just felt like we were the only Black representation in that space, talking to leaders on campus and things. So when I went to BSU, I didn't initially intend on running for president. That was not, I just wanted to be in the organization. But I had a lot of institutional knowledge that I had a conversation with some advisors, and they thought it'd be really important. But I really wanted that the students had a space and a voice, but they also had community within the space that we had. So I really emphasized ensuring that the students who did participate really felt like there was unity and community within us, because it felt like we were kind of being tokenized in a way on the actual campus space. So I think it's interesting to hear that you were really close with administrators in that role, because if anything, I was taking a step away from administrators to exist within the community and really make it feel like it was kind of that home away from home for a couple of students. So that's an interesting dichotomy for me.
I would say for me, you know, the real emphasis was there were several of us that were, you know, actively involved in other stuff on campus. And my first year, I stayed in the International House, where you really got to see what does it look like to gather people from different backgrounds and make sure that they're united under a front, and then all the things that were facilitated for them. And I know that, you know, we have the Upperman Center, but that's not your living space. And so I kind of found the Black Student Union, you know, as a freshman, as a place where you could socialize and gather and enjoy yourself. And when I transitioned into the vice president role, and then really in that president role, my goal was to kind of allow us to unite and then do stuff out into the community. So it's what we're doing and then how we're actually impacting. Because, you know, at least at that time, it was kind of, you're from the college in a negative connotation, because the college is kind of walled off from everything else. And so we actually did some kind of tutoring, volunteering programs at a couple of local elementary schools, as well as the Community Boys and Girls Club. And then later I ended up being a professional in Wilmington. And I leaned back on the BSU when I had a mentoring program with 100 Black men. So it was working professionals with members of the BSU, working with high school students. And so, you know, and that was like in the earlier 2010s. But just being able to kind of rely on this resource of the BSU and not only have an impact on campus, but have an impact out in the community in terms of have that forward facing look. So, you know, I think it kind of serves both purposes.
I think we were very similar as well. There was a lot of reaching out into Wilmington. I mean, we had quite a few students that were from Wilmington as well, but when we looked around our classes and looked around the university, we didn't necessarily see folks that looked like us. So we were seeking to help the ones that looked like us, right? So we were able, and a lot of the students that we were talking to, they hadn't seen a lot of Black students out of UNCW. When people came to help them, they were white students, right? And so when we would go to a DC Virgo, or we would go to the Boys and Girls Club, and they'd be like, "You go to UNCW? You're a student, right?" And then so
you know, they call it the college.
Yeah, right. The college, right. But they would say, "Oh, if you go there, right?" And we were ourselves, right? Because I think there is a perception of who is at UNCW, what kind of student you are, you know, that you chose to come to UNCW versus going to an HBCU. And so just seeing us and seeing we're normal people. But that was a big deal. I remember that being a big deal to the students that we served. But the other thing too was showing folks Black excellence, because like you all have said, BSU was filled with the leaders of the other organizations, like the MPHC, you know, presidents, the Greek organizations. We made sure that we were everywhere. We had to be, right? We had, in order for stuff to be on campus that we wanted to see, we had to be in those positions, right? Hence why I was on ACE for several years. If y'all want to see a concert, we're not watching anyway. But yeah, so representation matters, right? It matters. Okay, go ahead, Chris. Chris's Wi-Fi is not of God today. Oh, here. So tell me, how would you say your experience was at UNCW? Or you can kind of tie it in with being BSU president, but how would you say your experience was while you were there? Come on, we're celebrating all that, the good and the bad. Amen. Anybody can jump in.
I'll jump in first. So I mean, they say that it's, I don't know, like let's say UNCW has 10,000 students and they say that there's 8% or 10% minority, 10% Black. I don't see it. Like I feel like I know every single Black person, unless everybody commuting, like it's not a thing. Like but I think it was really important for us to see at least some of us together. And even though it might have felt like there was 40 members and passerbys another 50, and then the basketball team and whatever, and you got 150 Black folks at UNCW, it was important to have that piece. As far as the campus environment, I mean, you've got limited representation. I was an econ major. I did very well in school. And so, like, I vividly remember I was taking a class that might have been like rec related because I did a leadership minor, and my phone went off in the class. I went to go turn it off, and the teacher said, the professor said, "Is that a drug deal about to go down?"
Wow.
Yeah, like I'm like, I know I got a chain on, but like I also have a 99 in your class. Like, let's be serious here. And in 2000, and I think it was 2002 or early 2003, there was a discussion about kind of race relations and racial profiling that campus hosted. And like I went back and looked because the stuff that's going on now, and I looked and typed my name and race relations. It was like, where this was an issue in 2001, 2002. If you're a Black kid on campus and you're riding a bicycle, the question is like, how dare you ride a bike? You must have stole that. And all of those other dynamics. And I mean, it's very unfortunate, but when you have low representation and TV images that point to other things, it's just a part of that entire process. So, what I can say the most that BSU really did is it helped put a different face on Black excellence, as Eb said. So like when we were doing the mentoring programs, it kind of said, no, they're united, but it's not just to socialize. They're united, but they're also leaders in other areas. And you really even had the push of talking to them and helping to continue to push others forward to make sure that they were considering how to lead and taking on other roles and those kind of things. So, that would be my most vivid memory is without that unity, you wouldn't know how to take that next step because it's very easy to go in your shell. Just say, I'm about to get this degree and it don't even matter. I'm about to, travel to A&T on the weekends or something like that.
Wayne, did you want to jump in?
Sure. I would say my feelings about UNCW are mixed, and that's maybe true of all of us, but there were some really good times, unlike your previous speaker. I wasn't a very good student, believe it or not. I went to an HBCU my freshman year. I went to St. Aug, and then I transferred back to UNCW my sophomore year. And someone mentioned Mr. Parker early, and probably without him, I would have flunked out of UNCW. And probably not so much because of the academics, but I met this girl. And, so, that was one thing. And Mr. Parker, I didn't really know him at the time. I was walking across campus and he stopped me and he said, I took the opportunity to look at your grades and you're not doing so well. And everything about your background would indicate that you could do better, And so kind of with that little talking to, I kind of got my act together and did well and had a lot of, there were not that many Black faculty members. One or two, maybe two. And so in terms of the good and the bad of it, the good wasn't, like Chris, I was a communications major. And there was a woman by the name of Betty Jo Welch who was the department chair. And she was very supportive of me, And there was another fellow. The reason I got to graduate school, there was a brand new professor on the staff there, had just gotten his PhD, a fellow by the name of Bob Rosenthal. He teaches, he's a professor up at Suffolk University in Boston now. But Bob was just out of graduate school. And so he caught me my senior year where I was a good student and all those things. And he started the forensics team and I did well with that. So he says to me, where are you going to graduate school? And I said, graduate school? I'm just trying to get out of college. And he says, well, you don't have to pay for it. And I'm like, I don't. He says, well, no. Go to a big school, teach, become a TA, teach the undergraduate communication courses, coach forensics or whatever. And so I went to graduate school at his alma mater where he got his PhD in Ohio. It cost me $85 a quarter. And so you can just see, knowledge is a wonderful thing, So that's sort of the good side of it. The bad side of it was I didn't go to class a lot my senior year. I was student body president. I was doing a lot of things off campus. And I made a B in I can't even remember what class it was now, but I didn't go to class. I'd show up and I'd take the test. Mm-hmm. And the professor didn't like it, so he flunked me. It was a linguistics course taught in the English department. And I needed that course and I had to make a C in it at the School of Communications in order to graduate. And so he flunked me. And my department chair, Dr. Welch, and this fellow, Dr. Rosenthal, they gave, there were communications folks, they gave me the course over as a directed individual study, and the academic dean turned it down. Mm. So here I am accepted to graduate school, but can't graduate because I have a D in a linguistics course. And this is the wonderful, so that's the good and bad of it. But Dr. Rosenthal called up his school and said, you need to take this guy. So I went to graduate school when I had not officially graduated as an undergrad. And what really bothered me about that in the long run, UNCW accepted my grade as a directed individual study from Bowling Green State University in Ohio, but they would not accept it as a directed individual study from the communications department of their own university. So good, bad, that type of thing. So I really had a lot of wonderful people who supported me there, not to mention really wonderful friends, not only in the BSU, but I was a local Wilmington kid and there were not that many of us. So there was a good camaraderie on campus, kind of thing. And, and I think you're right about, I want to say things have changed and so much better than in 1979, but in a lot of ways, not really, The good news is you do have the Upperman Center.
Mm-hmm. You didn't have Upperman.
No. And things of that nature. In fact, Sean, I go to church. He preaches at my church a lot. So that's kind of a good thing. Sorry to ramble there.
No, that was good history. We needed that. Alexis like, $85 a quarter is like blowing her mind with that law school tuition. She's like,
I have a book right now that costs more than $85. I'm completely baffled by that.
But for that, I had to teach undergraduates, but well worth it.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah. I guess with my good and bad, The good is that I had amazing mentors, and I had people on campus who really took the time to invest themselves into my experience and really engage me in a way that pushed me to be more than I thought I could be. In my majors and Upper Mid Center, I just had amazing people who really took the time to like dedicate space and energy to me being great. So I really appreciate that. But I think with the bad, I also experienced some things that pushed me further into that community because it did feel very much like I was always being tokenized or I was being ostracized in a way in my classrooms or walking around. And the most recent election happened when I was BSU president, or like when I was walking into that. And that was just an experience where you just feel like an alien on campus, and not having a community to support you, I think I would have been in a very different space. So I think what I experienced allowed me to appreciate the community that surrounded me in the BSU and in those cultural spaces. But I do think it's unfortunate that like you have to go through the hard times to get to the good. But you take the good and the bad and you make the most out of it. And I definitely had no plans of going to law school, but I met people and I met individuals who challenged me to be better and challenged me to go forward with what I wanted to do and what I thought I could do. But it was a hard fight to get here. So
it's real. Avery, what was the good and bad of UNCW or your BSU time?
Well, I remember when I first got to UNCW, I was challenged the first day by a group of brothers in Alpha Phi Alpha. It was only their actually their first year on campus, and they were there doing registration and meeting everyone, all the Black students that came up, and they just, it was welcoming. I didn't have a really negative experience at UNCW. I had great mentors like in Dean Parker and others that were there, but it was a time back in the early '80s that just like the drinking age hadn't gotten to 21 at the time, and that's when they used to have parties down at the dorms and bring the beer trucks in, and everybody just got along for some reason. And so it wasn't a time like it is today. But the key, I think, is what I'm hearing was that time on campus was a time to connect to one another. And so, and since there were so few of us, we made it a point to connect with one another and keep in touch with one another, as we do today. As of this day, you know, I'm still in contact with my classmates from UNC Wilmington, and that was a time to what you would do now is you know, make contact and make relationships with people. That's what it was. Because and there was, like I said, there was just so few of us. We had to do that. We stayed connected, you know, because there wasn't a bunch of sororities or fraternities that we were associated with out there, and but we all knew one another. We all hung out at the pub. Back then, they had a pub on campus, and a lot of the buildings, well, the majority of the buildings that they have now weren't there. And after I graduated, as a matter of fact, I started working as a police officer there for some years. So I worked at Wilmington Police Department, and I worked at UNCW Police Department before I went into the military full time. But you know, made a lot of relationships, had a lot of friends there, and just overall a good time.
So I think the thing that I would say, I made a conscious decision at a certain point that I was gonna take what they had to offer, right? That I had to shift my perspective And so I made a conscious thought that, you know, I see who's in the class with me, and usually it was me and one other person. But I saw it, I said, you know what? I'm gonna get everything that you have. If you're gonna just have me, you'll know me. You'll know me when I leave here. It's not that many of us. You're gonna know Ebony Freeland at the time, right? And so I took that. Now, granted, when I graduated, I said, I'm not going to school anymore after this day, May 19th, 2001. But I made a decision, and I use a lot of those lessons to this day, how to maneuver in that world. Like, I learned how to play the game at UNCW. I really did. I learned how to interact with folks. I learned how to use my voice, all of those things, because I had to just do it. I learned to step forward. I learned a whole lot from some of the politics that were happening there, from being the only one, all of that. I took it, even to this day, and I think I can help people through my admissions career. I helped a lot of people with how to handle a PWI, because I learned how to, I said, listen, choose your battles.
Right.
Choose your battles, you know, and I had to learn that, because I was one that we can go all the way with this, right? But sometimes it wasn't worth my energy to do. And so I learned a lot of lessons and the connections, as everyone said. My wedding party was full of UNCW people, the people that, you know, and I still have connections with them, because we kind of were tried in the fire, you know, when you have to overcome, and those are the people that stick and stay. And it's really been true for me in my life. So, all right, Chris, we've all gone. Go ahead.
So far, the best thing about being BSU president is just being able to represent the students and to be their voice, really, to give voice to those who don't have a voice. Can y'all hear me? Did y'all hear that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, y'all.
Okay.
My wise man. Hawk Wi-Fi it's terrible. It's terrible. But
I can
would
hear you perfectly.
say the worst thing, it's the
We lost you. Okay.
That's because we didn't need to hear any bad things. That's why. We lost him because we didn't need to for him to be, you know, our bad stuff was in the past. His is in the current. He don't even need to think about that.
We're trying to encourage him. Come on, keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. You know,
I would think it'd be a tough
the
time
power,
right
life, and
now
death is in the tongue.
being BSU president
They,
with the current climate and the pandemic and everything, or what's going on, make it very difficult because you're scattered and you can't come together except for things like this or Zoom or something like that. So it's kind of hard to keep in contact and see what's going on in the lives of your the people that you're representing. So it's not like you pass them or see them in the lunch room or anything like that during the day.
yeah.
So, you know, you're only going by what your opinion is, not what everyone else's opinion is. So that makes it kind of difficult.
Well, they've
So he's
definitely
having a
worked.
problem with it. Yeah.
They have worked Mr. Neal. I will say that. He has definitely been working.
Are they having
Wayne.
classes this fall at UNCW? How's that?
They are.
Oh,
They're on campus.
wow.
He's frozen, but they are on campus, and he was telling us beforehand that he's I think they're just trying to make sure everybody can stay healthy and see if there's going to have to be any changes about that.
Wow.
If they have to go home. Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
I was going to say, you might want to join by phone.
we won't be able to hear him.
Oh,
I think it's the Wi-Fi. Yeah, he might can join on his phone.
Right, that's what I mean. Right.
Yeah, we'll when he comes back, we'll try. So before we, I think this will be good for people. We have a lot of the BSU students that are watching right now.
Mm-hmm.
So can you give any advice for them, for current students, for student leaders, students that you would want to give from your perspective?
Well, I think the main thing that I wanted to say this whole evening was you have to network. It's all about knowing people. You get people to know you and like you, and then you don't have to worry about when you graduate if you're going to have a job or if you're going to start a business or whatever. It's those people that you meet and you know that are going to help you with that. So, you get the good grades, great, but meet people, be a people person, get out there as much as you can, meet as many people as you can, and you'll be very successful in your life.
Awesome. Wayne, you got some advice for the people?
Oh, I'm not usually one to give advice. My son would disagree with that, I'm sure. Everyone's situation is different. So in terms of the networking, I think that's great. If you have the opportunity, I think one of the things that changed my life and the trajectory of my life was going to graduate school. It's getting some education beyond the undergraduate degree. And I realize that may not be for everyone, but I think particularly in these times where the economy is what it is and those kinds of things, I think the more education you have, the better opportunities that you'll find when you're out there. So that's the one thing I would think about.
Awesome. Carla?
I think from a professional standpoint, I think I'd also connect with what gentleman right before me said. I've gotten initial certification. I graduated with an econ degree, but afterwards I've gotten my certified financial planner designation and a bunch of other financial designations. So whether it's graduate school or just getting certified in the industry, if you're in HR, you get your PHR, your SPHR. If you're in project management, getting your PMP, that may be a different pathway, especially with graduate school being, more expensive. Getting certifications in your career, it really just shows people that you're interested in continuing to advance yourself and being knowledgeable in your industry. And at the end of the day, that's where the dollars will flow. And I'm sure that, when you're talking about return on investment, if you're getting a certification besides your time, the return on investments, that equation really plays out pretty strongly going down that pathway as well as time.
Awesome. Alexis, the most recent grad?
I definitely echo what everyone else said. I think making those plans for after school, while you're in school, is really important. But I also want to echo what you said earlier, Ebony, about playing the game, because there's so many opportunities while you're in school. I think I got at least 4 scholarships while I was in school still. But that's because there's only 10 of us. So they're going to see you and remember you because there's only 10 of us. So our financial aid director is a wonderful guy who comes in the Upperman Center very engaged. So use that to your benefit. Study abroad. I went for a whole summer. I had 2-3 jobs on campuses. There are ways to make the most out of your undergraduate experience to not only benefit you after, but also while you're in it. So do everything, say yes, join a different organization if you can, but also remember you're a student. So I definitely encourage the social events. For some of you, I remember planning them and you being there. But I also think it's important for you to go to class because you can't go to the events if you're not in school. So use your opportunities, use that time you have in undergrad to make the most out of everything. Be willing to change and adjust accordingly. I had no plans to be where I am right now, but I would not change it for anything. So college is a time for you to find yourself and also find the people that will be your forever friends. And although, yes, I do have friends after undergrad, it is not as impressive as everyone else because it's been 1 year. But make those relationships, make the most out of it, and play the game because it's going to get played regardless. So you might as well be top 5. But yeah, I think that's all I got.
Yeah. Well, we're going to give Chris a chance to do some comments before he goes out. I just want to, we have alumni watching and we have students watching. So I think we have an opportunity to give up and to give back, right? So this is important. This conversation is important because the students that are at UNCW need our voice. They need the support. Sometimes when you're in the middle of something, you can't, it's like, oh my God, I'm not going to make it. But if somebody can reach back to you and say, listen, I know that's challenging, but you can make it. That means a lot, right? It means a lot for us to show up here tonight and speak to these students and let them know that, hey, we went through some of the same things you did, but here we are, and we've had these awesome experiences. We've gained these great friends. We did network. We did all of these things, and you can do it too. And you're not by yourself, right? You will make it out, and they don't have to take anything from you, right? We don't, you don't have to give them. I feel a little bit of my pastoral role, so I'm not going to preach, but you got to make sure that you don't give your strength away, right? Hold on and fight the good fight. You have something to contribute. You belong at UNCW. They don't just give spots away. You belong there. And so use your time wisely and take what they gave you. Get the money, get the scholarships. Ralph Parker Scholarship, I remember getting that, right? I remember it. And so, use your time. All right, Chris.
Hey y'all. So sorry, y'all. This Hawk Wi-Fi is treating me bad today. But I want to say thank you for everybody for coming, for showing up. Thank you to all the past BSU presidents. I want to thank my executive board. I love y'all. I know y'all in there. I want to thank you, Ebony, for taking the show because my Wi-Fi wasn't working with me. But I'm gonna definitely watch this after this. And I just want to say thank you so much for giving advice, giving us your experiences, and just passing the torch along to us. And I really appreciate it. And I'm gonna have to really watch it. I might really have to talk to y'all after because I want to hear what y'all had to say because I know y'all was dropping some gems. But seriously, I really do appreciate this, and it means a lot because this kind of goes with Upperman's theme. Look, kind of knowing where you came from, go back and fetch it. That's what the Sankofa bird is. Go back and fetch your history. So I want to say thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to listen to your advice, dropping gems on us. I appreciate it so much. And thank you for everybody for tuning in, seriously, and listening.
Awesome. We're so excited. So
Hey, I wanted to check. I wanted to check with you guys to see if y'all ever got the time capsule that we buried back in 1985 at the student union at the time. We put a time capsule in the courtyard that was marked at UNCW back in 1985.
Wow.
BSU,
So you'll see some of the things that we were going through and some of the things that were happening. Yes.
Okay, BSU Exec Board, you heard it here first. There is a capsule. And so 85 will make this, 35 years. So y'all need to jump on that. Go find it. Avery, you might have to do a little, put the flag up to show them where it is. And hopefully Chris's Wi-Fi will allow him. We'll make sure to let him know. But we just want to thank everybody for jumping on. Wayne Dunlap from the original crew. We thank you for joining from class of 79. Avery Tootin from the class of 86. Myself, class of 01. Carlo, class of 03. Come on, my brain. And Alexis, class of 19. Come on. So please, you all, we got alumni watching. Let's give back. You can donate to Upperman. The AAGA website is live where you can go directly to support specific things that you want to support. You want to support AAGA, you want to support Upperman, you can do that directly. To all of the current students, we support you. If there's ways that we can, please let us know as mentors, as advice, however we can help. We want to do that. Thanks to everybody that joined in. We appreciate your time so much. Thanks to Upperman. They're also sharing this on their YouTube. So thanks, Manny and Sean, for your support of current students and alumni. So we hope that you have a great night. Everybody just wave goodbye. I'm going to end the broadcast. Y'all just stay on for a second. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Take care.
Take care.